So we already have the skeleton of the project, and now we would like to go on. We are lucky actually in this project because we already have a working version of the application that we are just trying to create a clone of it. So search cpan.org is already there, and we want to make sure that our application behaves exactly like that application. So instead of writing just unit tests for the new application, we can already write tests that will interact with the old one, and then these tests are going to be the acceptance tests for the new version, for the new application, for the clone. So we're going to start writing tests, accessing search cpan.org and seeing what kind of results it provides, what kind of data it provides, and then we can have these tests running towards the clone that we are going to write. So in this application, we already have the test skeleton test script, and it already has loaded the test www mechanize. As you might know, there is a module called LWP user agent, which is a user agent, basically a browser, a client of a browser that can interact, that knows how HTTP works, so it can interact with HTTP websites. It can download the website with GET or POST or various statements. But it only knows about HTTP. And then there is a wrapper around it called www mechanize, which already understands HTML. So it knows, for example, how to click on a link, or how to fill a form, or how to get the content of a page, or the title of a page, or all the links, for example. And that module, www mechanize, is quite useful for automating interaction with websites. But if you want to write a test, then you also have to compare whether then it's not enough to check whether, for example, a GET statement was successful. You also have to print OK or not OK according to the result. And that's what test www mechanize does. So it's a wrapper around www mechanize that provides various testing functions that will print out OK or not OK. And it slightly differs from other testing modules because instead of providing functions, it provides a class. It's a class, and it provides methods to use. So the way we use it is that after loading it into memory, we have to create an instance, an object of this module, calling the constructor, and then we can use this W to fetch a web page. It's quite useful, I think, to put the URL http search cpan.org into a variable, so later on we'll be able to replace it with a URL of the clone if that's what we want. And then we can use the W object to call get OK and give the URL. And this is going to be already a testing function, so we can remove the pass, and we can run this script, and it tells us that everything was fine. It could fetch that URL. Now, of course, for this I need to have internet connection, and search cpan.org has to be alive. So actually, this test is a slightly problematic because I don't have full control of all the parts of it. Anyway, the next thing that we can do is check whether the title is what we expect, but we don't really know what to expect to be the title. So if we had a written specification, then we could put here that expectation. But instead of that, we are not now creating the specification. So we are going to check whether the title is, and I'm going to put here an empty string. And of course, I need to update the number of tests because now I'm going to have 2 tests. But this thing is, let's run it. So this thing will fail, obviously, because we are expecting an empty string, but there is an actual title. But it can be very useful because now we can see what the actual returned value is. So this is what search cpan.org returned, and we can say that, okay, so from now on, we are going to expect this to be the same. So now we have a test, and if we run this, it says everything is okay because the expected result and the actual result match. Now, of course, this is a slightly problematic, I think, because I'm not sure that the clone is supposed to say the same thing. So on one hand, if this is a perfect clone, that it should return exactly the same stuff. On the other hand, I don't want to pretend that this is the real Search cpan.org website. So this is a bit strange, and I'll have to think about it. But for now, I think it's okay to test if Search cpan.org returns what it really returns. And maybe if we run it a couple of times and it will change, then we'll know that there is something that's changing on Search cpan.org. Now we can go on and do something more. We can, for example, there are a couple of links on that page. For example, at the top, you might remember there's a link to the authors. So we can call the follow link OK method that will click on a link and check whether the click was successful, and we got a new page. But it somehow has to identify the link. And there are various ways to identify links. We are going to use the one that says that the text on the link is authors. So this is going to look for a link which has authors as the text and click on it. And we can also add a name, just authors link, something. This is just the name of the test case. Now, of course, we increase the number of tests, so we have to increase the plan and run the proof. And it's successful. Of course, you will see it takes a couple of seconds because it tries to interact with the website, and it can take a couple of seconds. So we can go on writing this script, but I think it's much better to try to separate these into two areas. So instead of having just flat tests, let's create subtests. So the subtest is, let's say this is the subtest that's checking the home page, and so this is a subroutine. And then we put in these two people, these two goals inside. So now instead of two unit tests or two test cases, I have one single subtest. So instead of 3, we are going to have here now 2, the subtest and this second test. And this second test is going to be also replaced by a subtest, which let's call it authors. Yeah. So now we will have 2 subtests, and we have the plans, and the result is the same. So the result shouldn't change. It just provides us a way to better organize the tests. So if we want to enlarge the tests, then we can do it. So let's go ahead and further enlarge this test. On the home page, there is a form, right? We can fill that form. So the way we can do that is calling the submit form OK method, which will look for a form and then fill out the form and click on submit and check whether the submit was successful. So there was a return page with 200 OK. First thing we have to identify the form. We are quite lucky in this case because there's only one form on that page. So we say that the form number 1, so the first form we are locating, and then we are filling out the fields. So the way to know what fields are there is to browse to the website and click on view source and then look at the form. So that would be one way to do that. And then there you can identify the names of the various elements, the input box and so on of the form. Now that I already know that, actually, I can say that the fields that I need to fill are the following. There is one that's called query, and I put there SZ. So that's the free text that I typed in. And the mode, which is actually a drop-down selection box thing, selector. So we select there the author. So we are looking for the SZ among the authors. And that's how we identify the form, that's how we submit it, and then this is, And I've missed here that this form needs another curly braces here. Yeah. Actually, here after the comma, I can put some tests. So we can say search for S. Well, I have to put it in quotes. Search for S in authors. Okay. So we can submit. Now we don't have to update any counter here because within the subtest there is an implicit done testing at the end. So it might be better to do the counting manually, but for now it's okay just to just add tests and it will be fine. So we can run the test again, and it will take a couple of seconds, but it says that it could submit the form. Now, what's on that form? So if you go there and browse by yourself and look at it, then you will you will see that there is a person called Arpad Sas listed there, but there is no Gabor Sabo, which is obviously bothering me because, well, my name should be there. But the point is that there is some strange thing going on with search.cpan.org. I don't know if this is on purpose, that it's filtering the names according to some kind of a rule that I'm not aware of. But it's strange that Arpad Sas is there and a couple of other people with SZ in their name. They're not there. So I can actually write tests to make sure that this is the case. So I can check whether the content of this website contains something, the name of Arpad Sas. And I can also make sure that the content doesn't contain or lacks my name. So I can run this test and then it complains about something. There's no content contained, it's content contains. Content contains. And I can't type here. Okay. Let's hope that I spelled it correctly this time. And that too is not lack, but lacks. It's good that at least the module knows what kind of method it has. So now you can see that it's successful, meaning that the web page has Arpad Sas listed, but not Mr. Sabo, and not a couple of other people. Now this is a funny thing here, because I'm not sure if this is a correct test. So on one hand, this test passes everything fine on the current implementation of search.cpan.org. But how should the clone behave? And I'm not sure. Should the clone really implement this exact same behavior, which might be buggy? I don't know. I'm not sure if this is intentional or this is just a bug in search.cpan.org. Or should it actually return every name that has SZ in it? And then this test will fail because the content lacks will fail. So I'm not sure. For now, let's leave it like this, and then we'll come back to this later on. The authors text can also be enhanced. We can add, we can check here if the title is, and we can again, check it again the same way as earlier, but actually I've already done that, and I know that it has this exact same text. So I just copy paste from somewhere else. And this is the title. And then we can check all kind of other things. Here too we can use the content contains to check whether certain people are listed there. You can click on one of the links. So there is a link, there are links, and let's see this one. So there is a link that it says follow link. Okay, and there is a link that's it says just the letter A on it. And we can follow that, and then we can check whether the content contains, and for example, Andy Adler was listed there. So we can run the test, and if I didn't make any mistakes again, then it will say that everything is successful. So this way we can add more tests, and that's it basically for now. So what we need to do is check git status. What have we changed? And we only changed the test script. We git add everything, specifically this page, and then git commit -m add some more tests. And that's it. Now we have committed it, and we can go on with the next step.